Histograms are a common way to view the distribution of data, but it might depend on the bin sizing. Smaller bins, smaller buckets, more detail, less bins, maybe more able to see the overall trend. So the question we ask is, how does bin size change the perspective of the data distribution? So let's go ahead and upload the data file. And let's see, this data file is here. And let's go ahead and see that data file. It looks like I've uploaded this data. Let's maybe ask for some summary statistics. So this is kind of data by country, by year, by month, average temperature. And so based on those average temperatures by month, we have a huge data set to evaluate temperatures across the globe. Sometimes we might want to use it to see if there has been controversial things such as climate change. We won't get there today, but would be interesting. Let's go ahead and, since it seems to know what it's doing, it's found the year, the month, the temperature, but let's go ahead and ask it to show the data dictionary, and we'll just see if we need to add any additional information there. So a histogram is a frequency distribution. It says how many times was there an observation or a data point within this bin or bucket. And so that's what we're going to use this lab to do, that. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at that. This looks to be consistent with what we're expecting. And so now let's ask it to provide a histogram, but we're going to use a bin size of 1 degree. So that's going to be the most detailed that will be provided for us. A good question would be, is this degrees Celsius or degrees Fahrenheit? And perhaps we should have taken a better look at that at the beginning, and perhaps we can see that now. I hope there's no places on the earth that have 112 degrees, but you can certainly see this looks to be Celsius, and so it says degrees Celsius. You can kind of see the distribution there, around between 20 and 30 on average across the months, and you can see some are quite low and others are quite higher. You know, the question we're trying to address in this particular lab is trying to see how much bins matter. And ChatGPT allows us to do this. I mean, essentially within a couple minutes, we're going to be able to do a full analysis of bin size. And we're going to use 1, 3, and 5. So you can kind of see the same basic trend, but now these are at 3 degrees. And the final thing we're going to look at is what it would look like if it were 6 degrees. And so much wider bin, so maybe overall trends, but certainly not details. And so, you know, it's kind of like, well, I'm not able to see near as much in detail, but may not be what I needed anyway. Here we can download this chart, but specifically the lab itself, if you're following those notes, ask us to go ahead and give it a name. So we can ask it to output this histogram and give it a specific name. And so let's go ahead and do that. I also wanted to point out, anytime after an instruction or analysis is done, there's going to be some Python code that tells exactly, you know, what's being done. And so you're able, if you know Python, you can read it. If you don't know Python but are familiar with programming, you can certainly understand that and see exactly what it's doing. But we asked it to output the visualization. It did so, and so we would be able to see it here, and it's got a specific name rather than just saying output. We also could ask it to finally display the labs that were provided, or sorry, provide the prompts that have been provided it. I like to kind of use that as a backup, or if I wanted to go change it for the future, I would have that available. So that completes this lab.